Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are fine. Let's quickly do the topic of National Human Rights Commission of India. Basically, it's an independent and statutory body which has been constituted under the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. This act was passed by the Parliament of India in the year 1993. So, what NHRC or National Human Rights Commission of India does? Basically, it protects the human rights of the Indian citizens. It protects the right to life, right to liberty, right to equality, and even right to dignity of the individual. All these rights are enshrined in our Constitution of India. These rights are also guaranteed by the Constitution of India. So, NHRC basically acts as a watchdog of the human rights, and it protects the human rights of the common citizens of India. So basically, NHRC was constituted in compliance with the Paris Principles of Human Rights. These principles were very much in tune with the present circumstances of the world after World War II, and they were adopted for the promotion and protection of human rights, and they were even endorsed by United Nations in its General Assembly meeting of 1993. Now, because they were endorsed by United Nations in their General Assembly meeting in 1993, at the same time, in the same year, India also passed its own Protection of Human Rights Act 1993, under which this NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, was constituted or established. Now, this Protection of Human Rights Act 1993, this was India's act. This act also allowed various state governments of India, like Punjab government, Haryana government, Maharashtra government, and even Karnataka government, many more states. So these state governments can also establish their own state human rights commissions at the state level. Now, what is the composition of National Human Rights Commission? Basically, it consists of a Chief Justice of Supreme Court, retired Chief Justice of Supreme Court, or even a Judge of a Supreme Court. He will be a chairperson, and the second one is second member can be a Judge of a Supreme Court. He can be present Judge of a Supreme Court, or he has been a Judge of a Supreme Court. And the third can be a person who is the Judge of a High Court, or he has been a Judge of a High Court. And there may be three more members who are basically having proper knowledge of human rights. They are experts in this field. They are having practical knowledge. They are having they have done some practical study or some expert study in the field of human rights. So they are also included in this panel. Then besides these members, there can be members who are chairpersons of various commissions. So because of their position, because of their ex officio position, they may be deemed members in this commission. And who are those members? Like chairperson of the National Commission for Women, chairperson for the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, chairperson for the National Commission for Scheduled Castes, and chairperson for the National Commission for Backward Classes, and even chairperson for the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. So these chairpersons are also included in this National Human Rights Commission. They are members of the National Human Rights Commission, and they are known as deemed members because of their ex officio positions. Then there can be a Secretary General of this commission, who is a CEO of this National Human Rights Commission. Now, the chairperson of National Human Rights Commission, that is Chief Justice of India, or other members, they can be appointed, or they will be appointed by the President of India. And how the President will appoint them? Through a selection committee. Now, in selection committee, who are those members who are in selection committee? Basically, selection committee consists of Prime Minister of India, who will be the chairperson or chairman of that selection committee. So first is the Prime Minister, who is the member of that selection committee. Then there is a Speaker of Lok Sabha in that selection committee. Then there is a Union Home Minister in that selection committee. Then Leader of Opposition of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha in that selection committee. And there is a Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha in that selection committee. So these are the members who are in the selection committee, and they recommend the names of the members and the chairperson to the President, and the President appoints them. By the Protection of Human Rights Amendment Bill 2019, the chairperson and members will hold office for 3 years. So basically, this is the term, 3 years, or till they approach their own age of 70 years. So 3 years or till they become of 70 years. So whichever is earlier. Now let's do functions and powers of NHRC. Now, as far as the functions and powers of NHRC is concerned, the first and the foremost is it can inquire into the complaint of any incident of human right violation anywhere in India, and it can inquire into the negligence in the prevention of such violation of human rights by any public servant. It can intervene in any proceedings involving allegation of violation of human rights pending before a court, although by getting the permission of the court. And because this Human Rights Commission itself is a quasi-judicial court, it's a quasi-judicial forum. It has all the powers of the court, and it can grant interim relief. It can send summons. It can send warrants. So the National Human Rights Commission is deemed to be a court. Then it can visit any jail. So National Human Rights Commission can send a team to visit any jail, prison, other institution under the control of the state governments to study the living conditions of the inmates of these jails and prisons, and NHRC make recommendations to the government to improve the living conditions of these inmates in these jails and prisons. Then it can also review safeguards provided in our constitution. There are various articles in our Constitution of India, basically in the fundamental rights. So it can review them. It can recommend measures for their effective implementation to the central government. Then one more important function is it can undertake and promote research in the fields of human rights. So one more, it has the authority to recommend payment of compensation or damages to the victims of human right violations. This is also one of the main functions. Then there is that it can recommend both the central government or the state governments to take suitable steps to prevent the violation of human rights in the area, and it submits its annual report to the President of India. So National Human Rights Commission of India sends its annual report to the President of India, who then causes it to be laid before both the houses of the parliament, that is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. So these were certain functions and powers of National Human Rights Commission. Now let's do some of the limitations of National Human Rights Commissions. One of the limitations is that it doesn't have its own mechanism of investigation, as in most cases it hands over the cases to the central government or the state government for investigation for violation of the human rights. So it lacks its own proper mechanism of investigation. Then the other limitation is NHRC has limited jurisdiction over cases relating to armed forces. Then the other is a large number of grievances go unaddressed because NHRC can't investigate the complaints registered after 1 year of incident. This is the major drawback. Then it can't enforce its decisions but only make recommendations to the government. So these recommendations are also not binding on the government. So it can't enforce its decisions. It can only recommend some measures to the government. Government may accept them or not. So they are not mandatory for the government to accept it. Then it can't consider cases relating to service matters. It can't penalize the authorities that don't implement its recommended orders. So it can't penalize the authorities who don't obey its orders. Now some of the suggestions are, which you should write in the mains exam. Some of the suggestions to improve NHRC is, first of all, instead of having many commissions, like I have already told you, there are commission of backward classes, there are commission of scheduled tribe, there is a commission of scheduled caste, there is commission of National Commission for Women. Instead of having all these commissions, why not have a single commission under the banner of National Human Rights Commission? Because basically all these commissions are, basically the main object of all these commissions are what? The main object is to protect the human rights of the citizens. They may be of a particular area. So why not combine them and all of them come under the banner of National Human Rights Commission? This is one of the suggestions. And the other is there is a need for major changes in NHRC to make it more effective. And instead of just recommending the government, instead of having just recommendatory powers or recommendatory orders, it should have powers to enforce its decision also. So enforcing machinery should be there, and its composition should be restructured by including members from the civil society also. So civil society members should also be included in the National Human Rights Commission, and even human rights activists. So these are some of the suggestions. So some of the areas where human rights can be violated, there is the scope of violation of human rights in India are custodial torture, child labor and abuse, extrajudicial killings, several this sexual violence against the children, sexual violence against the women, LGBTQ community rights and labor rights, discrimination against women, discrimination against children. So these many more. So these are the basic topics which you should know if you want to grasp this topic of human rights. Basically, who are preparing for UPSC exams, they must know all these topics in order to know what human rights are and what is their position in India. So you need to work on this. Because human rights, it's not a different or a topic which is not concerned with other aspects of life. So all these topics need to be they need to be known, and by reading all these topics you can really understand what is the situation of human rights in India. So I hope you like the lecture. Thank you very much.